Palworld is at the epicenter of every gamer's conversations right now. It has evoked a playground sense of something I have not seen since Digimon vs Pokemon, way back in the 90s. It is as ridiculous now as it was back then. Don't get me wrong, I understand the die-hard Pokemon fans defending their corner of gaming. As a Pokemon fan myself, I know seeing something tread on the very ground of the thing you love walks on is unsettling for some, but for most of us, this game is an absolute breath of fresh air. It continues on that joy that I felt as a kid in the 90s, catching different types of ferocious or cute and cuddly creatures and making them do unspeakable acts of war crime and slavery. For my entertainment, Palworld just doesn't hide the fact that what it's doing is bad, unlike some other games. This brings me to what I want to show you, about how I spent so many hours trying to do something in the game I'm probably way underleveled and underutilized to be attempting, but still came out feeling like an absolute boss and having the best time, something a game hasn't made me feel like since the 90s. Baldur's Gate 3 has come close at reinvigorating my love for gaming, but this game takes me back to a time that the big Pokemon games just haven't been doing in recent years. So what did I attempt to do, you might ask? Well, I attempted to catch Anubis for the first time, one of the big final boss pals that everyone says is the best to own, and something to show off to all of your friends, the Mewtwo of its generation, or more likely in this scenario, based on its design, the Lucario. But let's not get into that debate, shall we? For a very long amount of gameplay, I'll speed through and show you the highlights of what I did and how I ended up doing it. Did I end up catching him? Watch or skip to the end to find out. But that's not the point of this essay. Act 1. Oh yeah, there was this funny little moment where he got stuck into a rock and I tried to cheese him like that. It didn't work. I ended up blowing him back out of the rock with the Mamoret. The first thing I want to talk about while you watch the first go around with this level 47 boss is how dynamic the action is. Something that feels great about this game is the movement. It really does play like a more action-orientated arc. Anyone who has played that game understands all too well the thrill of going up against a Rex or a Giga for the first time in a group, and this is more fun with friends as well. But going up against a boss solo is one of the best experiences it has to offer. Yes, you can say a lot of combat has been heavily inspired by Breath of the Wild / Tears of the Kingdom, amongst other elements, like your glider, but you can't copyright a gameplay mechanic, and when it works, it just works. You feel like an absolute beast when you are dodging, shooting, and frantically trying to keep your distance while the powers put on the pressure, Dark Souls rolling left and right, avoiding incoming attacks. It's epic. There is no better way to describe it, really. Then there's the moment you get to jump on your pal if you've unlocked their saddle, again very Ark style, and get to take control of the pal and blast them away with some very powerful attacks. My favourite being Mosander's bazooka, as you just saw in the first clip of this battle. The game has a way to have you feel that everything you're doing is making you stronger, and able to face bigger threats as you progress. It's the Legend of Zelda or Dark Souls approach. And of course, Pokemon did it as well. But it's done here in such an engaging way that sometimes you don't even mind the dull and tedious stuff. Yes, the crafting in late game can take forever, but when you finally get that saddle you've been wanting for one of your pals, the endorphin releasing joy you feel is absolutely worth it. Act 2. Powerless and powerful. The second point is the reason this game is so hugely successful and highly addictive, and it is the very same thing that kept us playing those older games in the 90s. What makes a good game compelling is not how well it can tell a story or how well it can present an action sequence, but how well it can make you feel like you are truly making a dent in an uphill battle against your odds and winning. Life is hard enough, and sometimes we feel powerless to the world around us. Games like this gives us control over something that we are seeing our efforts paid off in, and that usually applies to most games, but not every game has the get good energy that some of us crave. Now, as this battle was coming to an end, I was desperately trying to capture Anubis, but I was running out of hyperballs, and as you will see, he got me one last time, and by the time I had gotten back to my old base to restock, his HP had reset, making this a failure of a run. I felt defeated. I needed to grind. I wanted to get the saddle for Grisbolt and Zoe, which I did, as you'll see in the footage. Yes, I did the heinous act of using the boss capture glitch, but it was worth it to get my hands on an OP beast of a pal that I knew was going to help me win this fight and finally get Anubis. I may have lost some credibility with some of you for doing that, but I'm playing my way and having fun. The stage was set, and I headed back for a final challenge. This was going to be it. I was going to capture him. I'll let the footage play out, and you can see for yourself what happened. I'll speed it up for you so you don't have to sit through the whole thing. Here we go. And yeah, I die a lot. So he was down to his last slither of health, and I made my final attempt once again to capture him. It was no good. I didn't make enough hyperspheres. And with one final shot, he was defeated. A win for me, but a loss for what I wanted to achieve. And as I sat there with his knocked out body, knowing I would have to go through this whole fight again at some point just to catch him, I was actually looking forward to it. I spent hours trying to do this one thing, and in true Elden Ring fashion, I knew I would get him, but I'll save that for a future video. And a very belated welcome to my channel and my first video. I'm Dan, aka Baldur's Heathen. You can find me on Twitch as well as TikTok, where I post mostly nerdy D&D content, which brings me to a big thank you to my sponsors, Minva. If you are looking to upgrade your tabletop gaming to the next level, Minva is the one-stop shop for tabletop gaming accessories and needs. Check out the link in my bio for 10% off any orders using the discount code BaldursHeathen. Anyway, thank you all for watching. See you next time. Stay heathens.